Welcome to the deep dive. You know how it works.
Huh?
You send us stuff
Right.
that you're curious about, and
Right.
we kind of wade through it
Yeah.
and pull out the
Absolutely.
gems,
They're right.
the insights,
Yep.
the real
The good stuff.
the good stuff.
The takeaways.
So you don't have to do all the legwork.
The shortcut.
You get the shortcut to
Right,
being
right.
smart about something.
Yeah.
And today's deep dive
Very cool one.
comes from you.
Yeah.
You pointed us to a book,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
It's a classic.
kind of a legendary book
Absolutely.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's Blake Snyder's Save the Cat,
Save
the last book on screenwriting
Yeah.
you'll ever need.
It's a great choice.
It really is.
And, this is one that
Yeah.
clearly
A lot of people have found it useful.
people are big fans of this book.
Yeah. You see endorsements from folks like Todd Black, who
Mhm.
produced The Weatherman,
Yeah.
David Hoberman,
Yeah.
The Shaggy Dog,
Uh-huh.
Marie Jones from AbsoluteRight.com,
Cool.
Screen Talk Magazine,
Nice.
Andy Cohen,
Oh, wow.
Susan Jansen, Lizzie McGuire movie,
Oh, cool.
Valerie Phillips Paradigm Agency,
Nice.
Craig Baumgarten, who worked on Peter Pan,
Cool.
Catherine Summer, Perry the Marine,
Wow. That's a wide range.
and Sheila Hanahan Taylor
Yeah.
from Cy Perry Entertainment.
Very cool.
And they all talk about how insightful it is, how
Yeah.
informative, how
Yeah.
funny it is,
Yeah.
and just very practical
Right.
advice
Yeah.
for anyone trying to break into
Yeah.
screenwriting
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so our
This deep dive.
aim for this deep dive is to
Good.
really get to the heart of what Snyder says
Yeah.
makes a screenplay idea
Yep.
not just a good idea, but
Yeah.
one that will sell.
Yeah, that's important.
Right.
It really is.
In that really tough, major studio
a
environment.
tough town.
Yeah, yeah.
Hollywood.
And
It's a tough business.
and while this is about movies,
Yeah.
I think you'll find that his core ideas
Yeah.
about how to nail down
Yeah.
what he calls a real what is it?
The one is
This
the last.
compelling
Yeah.
central concept,
Yeah, very important.
and how important it is to
Yeah.
understand who you're trying to reach.
You got to know your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly relevant
Yeah.
in a lot of situations.
Yeah. I find that it's
Yeah.
helpful in a lot of
Making a movie,
areas.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
where you need to communicate
Mm-hmm.
a key idea
The key idea, yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like anything. Like, if you're starting a business or,
right.
yeah, or writing a song or,
Writing a song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
any kind of creative endeavor.
totally.
Yeah.
So he starts right off the bat
He does.
with a question.
Yeah.
And
And it's deceptively simple.
it seems simple,
Yeah.
but it's really powerful.
Incredibly powerful.
And the question is,
Yeah.
what is it?
Oh, is it?
And he argues that this one question is like fundamental
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
It is. It's the thing. Yeah.
Whether they're,
Whether it's box office numbers.
yeah, looking at box office numbers.
Yeah. Or some studio exec
Yeah.
is hearing a pitch. Yeah.
Or studio executives listening to a pitch.
That could make or break their year.
It could make or break their year.
Yeah.
And he paints this really vivid picture.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us can relate to this,
I think we all have.
of trying to describe a movie to your friends
To your friends. Yeah.
after only reading like
Yeah.
a brief, vague description.
Like in the newspaper
Yeah, like in the newspaper.
or something.
Or, just hearing,
Or someone told you about it.
yeah, somebody told you about it. And
Yeah. You haven't seen it yet.
you haven't seen it, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And you end up,
You're just like grasping at straws.
just like grasping at straws.
Listing genres.
Yeah, you're listing genres.
Maybe mentioning an actor.
Maybe mentioning an actor, and
Yeah.
then inevitably somebody in the group says,
So what else is playing?
so what else is playing?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And it's that
It's that feeling of,
feeling of just like
yeah,
not being able to like
not being able to capture the essence of the thing.
capture the essence
Right.
of something.
You just can't quite get at it.
And he connects that directly
Yeah.
to this kind of pressure cooker. Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
to have pitching ideas.
Because if you can't, yeah,
if you can't get
you can't articulate it. Yeah.
across the core
Yeah.
of your movie,
Yeah.
clearly,
Clearly and quickly.
and in a way that sparks interest,
Yeah.
you've already lost them.
You've lost your audience.
You've lost your audience. You haven't even had a chance.
Before you even
That's
begin,
the no story.
you've lost.
And that that question.
That casual question
What else is playing?
is like the ultimate signal.
Well, this isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, like
That.
you haven't
Yeah, I'm not hooked.
connected.
Yeah.
You haven't made your idea compelling.
Yeah, there's no there there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So this is fascinating to me. How
I think that was a
universal, how universal that
serious.
challenge can be. Think about if you're trying to
I mean, think about just
explain a complex project at work.
or like explaining some new hobby
Yeah.
you picked up to a family member.
To a family member.
Yeah, you know.
A new hobby.
And if you can't get to that core,
Right.
what is it? Quickly
What is
and in an engaging way,
Yeah.
you're going to lose them.
You're going to lose him.
Yeah.
And so he
Really?
he recognized this.
He recognized this need,
this fundamental
human need,
for this clear,
and an intriguing premise.
for this clear, intriguing premise.
Yeah.
So he says
So he says, okay, how do we do this?
the first key
Right.
to answering this question,
Yeah.
what is it?
What is it?
Yeah, in a way that grabs people,
Hmm.
is to nail your log line.
Mail the log line. Okay, now,
Yeah, no.
for anyone out there who might not be
Yeah.
totally fluent
Fluent.
in
Yeah.
Hollywood jargon.
What are we talking about
Yeah.
when we say
When we say log line, what is that?
log line?
Right.
What
So essentially, a log line is like a one-sentence summary of your movie.
Okay.
So it's like
So it's like the
the distilled essence
distilled essence
of your story,
of your story.
boiled down to its most captivating and concise form.
Yeah. And he says that this
And he really
is the
emphasizes
very first thing
that this is the first thing
that's going to catch anyone's eye.
that's going to catch anyone's eye. Yeah.
Whether it's an agent,
Right.
you know,
Wading through submissions.
wading through a mountain of submissions.
Yeah. Producer,
A producer
hunting for their next project.
hunting for their next big project.
Studio head.
Yeah.
Studio head deciding where to invest millions.
Deciding where to invest millions of dollars.
Or even just
The average person
the person browsing, you know?
browsing streaming services.
The streaming services on their couch.
on their couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your first impression.
Trying to figure out
Yeah.
what they're going to watch tonight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so he doesn't hold back.
he does not.
He doesn't hold back his frustration
Hold back.
with screenwriters.
On his frustration with screenwriters
Sure.
who jump straight into
Character backstories.
for intricate plot twists.
Intricate plot twists.
Yeah.
Before they even
have nailed this
You nailed
this
our
basic one-sentence pitch.
first sentence pitch.
He even admits to having a
He has a personal rule
personal rule
of cutting off pitches.
of cutting off pitches.
I can't get to the point quickly.
They can't get to the point.
And I understand it sounds harsh, but
but quickly.
yeah.
Time is money in that environment.
It sounds harsh,
Yeah.
but I guess in that
I think
too,
trying to do them a favor.
time is money, you know. So
Yeah.
because it really underscores
It really underscores the
it-
importance of having that clear central idea.
clear central idea.
If the person creating the story
Because if you can't, if you can't articulate it succinctly,
articulated succinctly,
how can you expect anyone else?
how can they expect anyone else to grasp its potential?
Potential.
Right.
So
And so it's direct,
his approach is very direct.
but it forces the writer
Forces on
to focus on,
the most crucial element,
you know,
a compelling and easily understandable premise.
an easily understandable premise.
Yeah. And so to give us a better idea
And so to give us some examples,
of what makes
of what,
works and doesn't work,
he shares some examples from
Yeah.
spec scripts
spec scripts that actually sold.
that actually sold.
Yeah.
That made him, the kind that made him jealous.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Ugh, I wish I had thought of that.
Wish he'd come up with them himself.
Yeah.
And the first one is
Okay.
a newly married couple
Right.
must spend Christmas Day
Yeah.
at each of their
Yeah.
4 divorced parents' homes
Okay.
4 Christmases.
4 Christmases. Okay.
Mhm.
What
No.
jumps out immediately
Okay.
is the conflict.
Immediately.
Is the inherent
the
conflict.
comedic possibilities.
And the comedic
Well,
possibilities.
you can just imagine.
You can just imagine
like the awkward family dynamics,
the whirlwind,
the forced sheer,
a sheer logistical nightmare
necessaire,
of trying to navigate
the sheer logistical nightmare
4 different Christmas celebrations
of trying to navigate
in a single day.
4 different Christmas celebrations
Yeah.
in a single day.
It's something that a lot of people can relate to on some level.
It's a premise
Right.
that many people can relate to
Even if their
on
families
some level.
aren't quite as extreme as that.
Right. Right.
Even if
Their own family situations aren't
Yeah.
quite that extreme.
Yeah, okay.
Another one he mentions is
Or
a
that.
just hired employee
Okay.
goes on a company weekend
The company weekend.
and soon discovers
Oh,
someone's trying to kill him.
someone's trying to kill him.
The retreat.
Okay, the retreat. All right.
Mm.
And that one, it immediately creates suspense
This one,
and intrigue.
immediately
Yeah, the seemingly harmless
create the sense of suspense
backdrop of a corporate retreat
and intrigue.
suddenly turns deadly. And you're like, wait a minute.
The seemingly innocuous backdrop.
Who is after him?
Oh.
Why?
Ah,
What
yeah.
secrets are going to be
A
uncovered?
company retreat is suddenly turned deadly.
Classic thriller setup,
Right.
in a
And it raises a whole series of questions.
potentially claustrophobic setting.
Who is after him?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
What secrets will be uncovered?
right. Yeah,
It's a
okay.
classic thriller setup.
I like to think it's got all the elements,
confined
Yeah,
and
yeah.
potentially claustrophobic setting.
cool.
And the last one he highlights is
Right?
a risk-averse teacher
Okay.
plans on marrying his dream girl,
Right.
but must first accompany his
Oh,
Over-
protective.
future brother-in-law, a cop,
Oh.
on a ride-along from hell.
Oh my God, that's going to be bad.
Ride along.
Right along. Okay, so the humor there comes from,
Makes a point here
yeah,
that
like the clash of personalities
adding something like from hell
and worldviews.
often signals a comedic tone.
Right.
Right.
So you got this cautious,
Yeah.
you've got
Probably academic teacher who's suddenly thrust into the high-stakes, unpredictable world of law enforcement.
high-stakes, unpredictable world
And so the phrase, ride along from hell,
of law enforcement.
sets a very clear expectation
And the phrase right along from hell
of comedic mishaps
sets a clear
and
expectation.
escalating chaos
Yeah.
of it's going to be a wild ride.
Comedic mishaps
Yeah.
and escalating chaos.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So those are examples
Yeah, so those are really good examples
of log lines.
love
Barely did hit the mark.
hit the mark.
Yeah.
So what are the essential ingredients?
Let's break it down.
What are the four
Yeah.
key components
What are the key components
that Snyder identifies
that make a log line a winner?
as making a log line?
So he breaks it
A
down
winner.
into 4 crucial elements.
Okay.
Okay, and those are irony,
He breaks it down into four
a compelling mental picture,
crucial
an indication of the target audience,
elements.
and the potential cost,
All right.
which is really important.
Well, so
And then a really strong, memorable title
four crucial elements.
that reinforces the central idea.
Let's delve into each of those.
Okay, sounds good.
Starting with what, Snyder?
Starting with
And I love this.
Yeah.
Quoting his friend,
quoting his friend, Colby Carr. Colby Carr
Yeah.
considers
considers the most vital ingredient.
the most vital ingredient,
Oh,
irony. Irony. And it's so fascinating
Yeah, I love that he puts so much emphasis on it.
that he puts so much emphasis
Yeah.
on irony.
Yeah.
Whether you're aiming for laughs
Doesn't matter if you're
or tears,
aiming for laughs or
Oh.
tears.
it's that unexpected twist,
That unexpected twist.
that intriguing juxtaposition.
that intriguing juxtaposition
It's
that instantly grabs your attention.
grabs your attention.
and makes you want to know more.
Makes you want to know more.
And he gives some
He gives a couple of really good examples here.
iconic
Iconic examples.
examples. A cop
A cop
comes to L.A.
comes to L.A.
to visit his estranged wife
to visit his estranged wife,
and her office building
and her office
is
building
taken over by
was
terrorists.
taken over by terrorists.
Die hard.
Die hard.
Oh, God.
Talk about
A serious curve.
right.
Yes. No,
You're
no.
expecting
You're
expecting like a
personal drama.
personal drama,
Maybe a reconciliation story.
maybe some kind of reconciliation,
But then all of a sudden,
and all of a sudden it's like
it's a high
high-octane action thriller. Yeah, and the contrast is what makes it so instantly compelling.
The contrast is what makes it so compelling.
Right.
And another one,
Okay, give me another one.
a businessman
Okay.
falls in love with a hooker.
A businessman falls in love with a hooker.
He hires
great.
to be his date for the
Maybe his
weekend.
date for the weekend.
Pretty woman.
Pretty woman.
Oh, that's so good.
That's so good.
Societal divide.
The societal divide.
An unlikely romance.
Unlikely romance.
The potential for
Both dramatic and comedic moments
both dramatic
all spring from that central ironic premise.
and comedic moments.
Yeah.
All spring from that central ironic premise.
Beautiful.
And then he brings it back.
Then he brings it back, yeah.
to those
spec sale examples.
spec sale examples, highlighting the irony.
Highlighting the irony, yeah.
In each.
In each.
The supposedly joyful Christmas season.
Right.
Turning into.
Yeah. The supposedly joyful Christmas season.
A chaotic.
Turning into a chaotic.
Family obstacle course.
Family obstacle course.
In 4 Christmases.
Right.
The team building retreat.
In 4 Christmases.
Team building
retreat, yeah.
A fight for survival.
Turning into a fight for survival.
In the retreat.
Yeah, the retreat.
And the safe.
And then the safe.
Predictable world of teaching.
Predictable world, yeah.
Colliding head-on.
Teaching colliding head-on.
With the unpredictable dangers of police work.
With the unpredictable dangers
in Ride Along.
Of police work in Ride Along.
Right.
Yeah.
And he argues that this irony.
So he argues that
it creates this.
Yeah, that it creates this emotional hook.
Emotional hook.
You know, something that feels.
Itch you have to scratch.
Intriguing and unresolved.
Right.
Like an itch you have to scratch.
It compels you.
You want to see.
To want to see how this unusual situation.
How this unusual situation is going to play out.
Will play out.
Yeah. And he makes a really important point.
Yeah. If your log line.
Which is, if your log line.
Lacks that spark.
Lacks that spark of irony.
That's irony.
It might be a sign.
That
your story itself. Is missing that essential element.
Of
surprise.
Or intriguing conflict. Okay.
Right? So, you got to hook them. You've got to hook it.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
What's the second key ingredient?
So what's number 2?
For a successful log line.
Successful log line. Okay, so the second element. Is the ability to create a compelling mental picture.
Yeah. And he says
a good log line.
A good log line should allow someone to instantly see the whole movie.
A whole movie in their mind. Right.
It's that initial spark. That ignites the imagination.
That hints and
a larger, more detailed
story.
And so.
And a good example of this is.
He uses producer.